Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and today is the launch of Bloomburrow Alchemy, so we're going to be playing a Premier Draft of Bloomburrow, except one card out of each pack has been swapped out for one of the new Alchemy cards. It's an interesting way to shake up the format for a week before we hop back to regular Bloomburrow queues, so without further ado, let's get into the Pack 1, Pick 1. And as you can see, the Alchemy card always replaces a common out of the pack, or a common or uncommon, something like that. It doesn't replace a rare, so you can get like 3 rare packs in these alchemy drafts, so I expect them to be pretty bomb heavy. But since we are going to be playing with the new stuff, we're going to start nice and simple and just try the new stuff here. We've got an alchemy rare, so we'll see how good it is. We've got Resourceful Collector, 1 a red and a green, so it is a raccoon druid with haste. It's a 3/3, and at the beginning of your end step, a random non-food permanent in your graveyard becomes a food artifact in addition to its other types, gains the ability to spend 2 mana and exile it to gain 3, and you can play it for as long as it's in your graveyard. That is super good. A non-food permanent becomes a food artifact in addition to its other types, and you can play it as long as it's in your grave, so you can just recast creatures from the grave, and now they're also food that you can exile. If you cast it and then it dies naturally, you could still recast it again? Wow. All right, yeah, Resourceful Collector seems insane. Now we have Traverse Valley. 1 green mana, seek a non-basic land. If it was kicked, put it onto the battlefield tapped. So you have to be running non-basics for this card, but that is pretty interesting. Kick it by foraging, so sacking a food or exiling 3 cards in grave. There are not a lot of good non-basics in this draft format, so I don't think we take that super highly or try to play around with that. I think we just take like Head of the Homestead or Clifftop Lookout here, but I'll grab the Head of the Homestead. Actually, didn't even notice the banner there, not gonna lie, I'm spending too long reading the alchemy cards. I noticed the banner at the literal last second. Probably should have just taken the banner towards raccoons, ideally. Pick 3 Gev is a solid sign towards red-black lizards, and we're nice and early in the draft, so we could hop on that train, but we could also take another alchemy card here, the Brave Meadow Guard. This is going to be a good Valiant trigger. Whenever it becomes the target of a spell or ability the first time each turn, you get a +1/+1 counter on it. That is kind of the most powerful Valiant trigger out of the commons and uncommons in the format. Very good one to repeatedly target. And no matter what, it's basically 2 red and 1 for a 2/2 that draws you a card, which is a pretty good upfront cost. So yeah, could definitely be a Gev Lizard deck, but we can also play with some more alchemy cards. So we'll toy around with the Brave Meadow Guard here. Feels like the worst case scenario on that card is already pretty good. Pick number 4 now. I like Cash Grab a lot in Squirrels. It's definitely much more filler in green-red, which is where we're more likely to be, but pretty much all these cards are pretty filler in green-red. Not excited about any of this, although we could take the Assault just to have some removal. We could also speculate off-color with the 2 strongest monocolored cards in the pack being Intrepid Rabbits and Consumed by Greed. So something towards black or white here. This Head of the Homestead could be played in a white deck, so if we end up in Boros, where we want a lot of Valiant triggers, the Intrepid Rabbit can trigger Valiant stuff, and we're 2 cards deep towards Boros already. I feel like I like Intrepid Rabbit enough better than Assault to speculate in that direction. For pick number 5, we've got a Bark Knuckle Boxer, super reasonable, cheap, aggressive raccoon, so that makes things pretty simple here. I don't think any of these Boros cards are particularly exciting or particularly high picks. Honestly, nothing in this pack is really any good except the Bark Knuckle Boxer, so we'll grab it. Pick number 6, here's another alchemy card. You get a 2-time boon with whenever you sack 1 or more permanents, seek a non-land card and create a food token. So you can sack the food to draw a card, and then the next food token that you sacrifice draws you another card. They're non-lands every time. That's pretty cool. Not like super exciting or super good or anything. I think I'd rather take the Warren Elder, which is very good with a wide board state. So it's great with our Intrepid Rabbit and our Head of the Homestead. And we're some combination of Naya here. Honestly, we have a great start towards green-white, red-white, or red-green. Really open start to this draft, and a pick 7 Brightblade Stoat makes me want to play white the most out of all these colors, which is a bit of a bummer for a resourceful collector. That means that's not going to make it in the deck without great fixing, and this format doesn't really have great fixing. So now it's just Boros or Selesnya here, most likely. Crumb and Get It, very solid for the white decks because you get those Valiant triggers. And it's just a efficient combat trick in general. Pick 9, now we can take the more filler removal out of red like the Assault. It's late enough in the draft, I'm fine scooping it up here. Could also take the Lupin Flower Village since white looks like our most likely color with how open it is. And this can search out some creatures of the white types. But there is a very real cost to only adding colorless for non-creature spells. I'm just going to grab the Assault here. Pick 10, Banishing Light. Yeah, white is very clearly the color to be in this draft pod. Very clearly. Pick 11, looks like red-white it is, because Blacksmith's Talent is great in this exact archetype, and that's a pick 11 a Gate Assault, which is a decent sign towards red as well. So Boros Valiant looks like a spot to be here, and that is the spot we're going to take. Let's grab a Blacksmith's Talent here. Great way to get some free Valiant triggers later in the game, once you've dumped some mana into the talent. And if the game goes long enough and you can dump a bunch of mana into it, then you could just take over the long game with this thing, turning any of your future creatures into double striking hasters. Even top decking a 2/2 late game is excellent when you have a fully leveled Blacksmith's Talent on board. So really good card there. Pack 2, pick 1, a black alchemy card. It's a very cool one though. 2 mana 1/1 that draws you a card and loses a life. But then if you play a second copy or if you reanimate this, then you draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. And it just keeps getting bigger from there. So super, super cool card. But we're pretty clearly in Boros now with how the draft has gone and with the cards that we're wheeling out of these packs. Boros is just the color pair to be in. So we take a Builder's Talent, which actually looks decent here with Blacksmith's Talent. That's a nice synergy. It's also good with Banishing Light. But there's not like a ton of great synergies in this color pair for this card. If we can get a lot of the Carrot Cake, that works pretty great with it. I think I'd rather just take a good removal spell at this point, and I'm going to take Rabid Gnaw over Banishing Light, since this is a removal spell that can also trigger our Valiant stuff. That can be very nice. Pack 2, pick 2. Another Alchemy card. Oh, this is a Lizard. If we took the Gev, we'd have this Alchemy Lizard. God, I want to play with these cards so bad at some point, but again, second half of pack 1, we are super happy to just be Boros here. So we can take Hop to It, Seedglaive Mentor, or Intrepid Rabbit. These are all incredible cards. Intrepid Rabbit is certainly the most flexible, and Seedglaive Mentor is the most likely to wheel. I wouldn't be completely surprised if this card didn't wheel, because it is a pretty solid signpost uncommon, but I feel like with the amount of red and white that we saw late during pack 1, it's unlikely at least that anybody else is specifically Boros, but maybe somebody's going to splash around with that. We'll see. I'm going to take the Intrepid Rabbit. I think it's better than Hop to It in this deck. And I think that Boros is open enough. We should potentially be able to wheel the Seedglaive Mentor. And yeah, Boros, decently open, it looks like, from this direction as well. At least the 2 players on our left are definitely not in Boros, because if you're in Boros, you never pass Mabel. Excellent card. The most prevalent creature type in Boros is mice, so all your mice getting +1/+1 is decent, but the really, really solid part about this is no matter what creature types you have, you're spitting out an excellent equipment when you cast Mabel, so even if your opponent blows up Mabel with removal, you're left with a great equipment that makes all your creatures incredibly relevant late in the game. Very similar to like Blacksmith's Talent, except way more efficient, because you're just playing a 3-mana 3/3 and getting a super good equipment immediately. Flowerfoot Swordmaster synergizes really great with all of our Valiant stuff, our Intrepid Rabbits, our Mabel because an equipment counts as Valiant, our Blacksmith's Talents, and we can start drafting mice pretty highly now that we have both Mabel and Swordmaster, buffing mice specifically. We ideally want to play that on turn 3 every time. Pick 5, we do have an Assault, a Banishing Light, and a Rabid Gnaw. I don't really want to take the 5-mana removal that highly at this point with this decent start. From the removal suite, I think I'm going to grab just a really cheap Valiant trigger with some of these great Valiant spells that we have. Let's grab that Might of the Meek. Pick 6. I'll take another 2-drop mouse here. Whisker Quill Scribe. Brave Duo would also be perfectly reasonable. Certainly an option as well. Crumb and Get It, not so much, just because I'm running out of room for non-creature spells. I'm probably cutting Dewdrop Cure at least. Maybe Bravekin Duo is better than Whisker Quill Scribe here, because there's less, like, playable 1-drops in the format. Not that this is that impactful. Yeah, you know what? I'll take Bravekin Duo. Alright, now we have Nettle Guard or Whisker Quill Scribe. Let's get some main deckable artifact enchantment removal in case our opponent has one of their own classes, one of their own talents on board to blow up. Nice main deckable sideboard option. Pick 8. First striker that ramps us a little bit is solid. The 1 toughness is quite bad, but that is the one downside of the card. Otherwise, it's pretty great. Pick 9. Builder's Talent is still here, but we don't have any Carrot Cakes, which is the best card to synergize with it, because it's a non-creature permanent that ends up in your graveyard to reanimate with level 3. But, again, we do still have some random equipment that'll hit the board and put +1/+1 counters out. I think I'm still just taking the mouse. It's a mouse that triggers Valiant every turn. We gotta take that while Boros is open. Grab a hop to it then. Honestly, all 3 of the colors we started with are wide open, because Green-Red Raccoons is open too. Just the full Naya. Guard Mouse is going to be great here. Big Mouse. Oh yeah. Alright, another Guard Mouse. I guess everybody's just on a lot of blue and black decks. Oh wait, why did I put that on the sideboard? That's perfectly playable here. Get in there, Whisker Quill. Got another Chittering Skull Speaker. Well, that's kind of sad. At least we have one alchemy card that's going to play really, really well in this deck. So we will show a tiny, tiny bit of the new alchemy hotness here, even if we ended up just getting past Incredible Boros stuff and hopping in that direction. We've got a little alchemy stuff. Somebody took the Seedglade Mentor, by the way. We saw tons of excellent red and white cards individually wheeling, but we didn't wheel the Seedglade Mentor. That's very surprising. But again, our deck's power level looks more than good enough that we're going to be fine without the Seedglade Mentor. This is just an easy, another Banishing Light here. Can I play this? Certainly. 1 mana, 2 damage. Oh, it only targets creatures. Only targeting creatures is kind of a bummer. I might take Patchwork Banner over that. Patchwork Banner on mice most of the time, but every now and then if we have a hop to it in hand, we can choose rabbits. Yeah, almost our whole deck is mice and rabbits. There's 10 mice. Yeah, Patchwork Banner is just going to be the nuts here. This is not that interesting of an alchemy card anyway. It's basically just a 1 mana deal too. The only thing alchemy about it is that it cares if you were the starting player or not. And paper magic cards don't do that because it's somewhat hard to track. Pack 3, pick 3. There's Take Out the Trash for another cheap removal spell, or Warren Elder for another 2-drop on curve. We got the Banishing Lights, we got the Assault, we got the Rabid Gnaw. If I take Out the Trash, I think I cut the Assault for it, just to lower the mana value of our removal generally. If I take Warren Elder, I'm at 16 creatures right now. I'm on 16 creatures and a hop to it, so I'm basically on 17 creatures. And I would cut a slightly weaker card, like Whisker Quill Scribe. Maybe I'd cut the Brazen Collector so every card in the deck is a rabbit or mouse. I feel like Take Out the Trash improves the deck more than Warren Elder here. I think we're cutting a worse card for the Take Out the Trash than we would for the Warren Elder. Okay, this pack is nothing for us. I could try to splash in Balin. That'd be funny. I've got a decent amount of token production, but not quite enough to make this super consistent. It's just if we live the dream and we get to hop to it with the Balin on board, then it's wild, but that's not that consistent. I'm probably not gonna try it here. I like that Playful Shove can clear out a 1 toughness creature or target one of your own Valiant cards. Love that flexibility where this card is good in exactly Boros and basically no other deck. There's the Carrot Cake, which is great if we go the full token route off of Balin. But I'm going to go the full Valiant route. That's the way that our alchemy card's leaning. Seasoned Warren Guard. We've definitely got enough tokens for the Warren Guard. At least a 1-mana 1/2 that every now and then is a 1-mana 3/2. So 1-mana 3/2 is so impressive that it's worth the times that it is smaller. This does not do anything in our deck. There's a tiny bit. We've got 2 spells it works with. I guess 3. Barely. I'm just going to take the Warren Guard. Pick 7. Another Intrepid Rabbit. No one likes Intrepid Rabbit in these packs. Harvest Right Host is solid too. It's going to trigger Valiant when you play it and when you play any other rabbits. And if you can get 2 rabbits in one turn, it draws you cards. We can draw cards off of Hop to It, Intrepid Rabbit, and Head of the Homestead. There's 3 cards in our deck that draw off of it. Honestly, I kind of like 1 Harvest Right Host double rabbit over 0 and 3. Pick 8. Ooh. 3 mana 2/4. When it enters the battlefield, conjure 3 cards named Sunscorched Desert into the top 10 cards of each player's library. Whenever a player plays a desert, they draw a card and we gain 3. So they draw a card, but we gain the 3. Oops. I read too long. That was a weird card. I don't know if we even want it in here. But I should have clicked on it while I was reading it. That's on me. That's my bad. Raccoon Rallier's fine at triggering some Valiant stuff, but I think I have too many better 2-drops to play that. And I can get to the point where basically all of our creatures are rabbits and mice for this patchwork banner, which will be nice. 1 rabbit response might be a thing. I don't know how I make room for it, but it's way more likely than everything else in the pack. Same with Heirloom Epic. Alright. We get to cut quite a few cards here. These drafts are juiced. I mean, when you add another card to each pack that is at least an uncommon, like the Alchemy cards are all pushed. They're for constructed formats primarily. So you just tend to get stronger cards later in these draft pods and everyone's deck is a little bit juiced up. So let's see what we got here. I like the ramp up from the Brazen Collector, but we could have literally every creature in the deck being a rabbit or mouse, which is both funny and helpful for Patchwork Banner. 18 creatures. This would still be 17 creatures on a Hop to It if I cut the Collector. Might cut the Might of the Meek and say Krummen it's better. Feel like we have enough Trample Crag Flames and +1/+1s here and Double Strike here. I think we have enough finishery stuff to not need the rabbit response that is basically only good as a finisher. There's still 3 more cuts to go. Would not mind cutting like a land and a 4-drop here. Seems pretty reasonable. Getting real quick. Real low to the ground, real aggressive. And that puts us to 17 white cards and 9 red. That is enough of a weight to go 9-7 instead of 50-50. But yeah, this looks excellent to me. Oh, how did I not cut enough cards? This is 16 lands, right? Yeah, 16 lands, and I cut a non-land card. Shoot. I guess I still need to cut 1 more. This is 41 still. Don't know how I did that. Oops. I'll just cut the other guard mouse and just top it off with the rabbits here. Still with the blacksmith's talent, with the Mabel equipment. Some rabbit buff. I think that's still enough to break through and finish, to not need the slightly beefy creatures. Like, we have tons of 3-mana 3/3s. 4-mana 3/4s are not that much bigger, although they're basically 4/4 first strikes pretty easily. Yeah. Got like 1 scribe or something. You cut the 1 Bravekin duo. I think I'm actually going to cut a non-creature here. We'll keep the guard mouse, and we actually have 2 Banishing Light, and a Rabadon, and a Take Out the Trash, and to an extent a Playful Shove for interactive spells. It's a lot of them, plus a combat trick. I feel like I can drop one of these down and just take out the 1 That's not synergy. I mean, the Banishing Lights aren't synergy either, but they clear out anything. I mean, they clear out enchantments too if your opponent has one of the rare talents, like the Innkeeper's talent that shoves +1/+1 counters every turn. So I think the flexibility of that is just really, really powerful. We can drop Take Out the Trash over one of those. And these are both synergistic outside of just being removal. Yeah. We'll do that for the final cut to get us down to our 40 card, 16 land aggro deck. Just a spicy mice deck with one fun little alchemy card to try to get a bunch of +1/+1 counters onto. So without further ado, let's hop into the gameplay, see how it does. All right, here we are on the play for game one. This is, there's definitely a certain amount of sketchiness to it with just a 1/1 in the hand, but Blacksmith's Talent gives us a lot to dump our mana into, and it's going to make any creature pretty relevant, including a 1/1. So every non-land draw in the deck is good, and even if we flood a little, we know what we're sinking our mana into for a while. Blacksmith's Talent can pretty quickly get things moving. If it takes us a while to top deck a creature, that creature is still going to get that instant haste double strike swing. So 1/3 body, Root Weaver is definitely too big for the Bravekin duo, even with the equipment on it. Could Scribe and attack. I can trade a Crumb and get it into a Mana Dork here. If not, I can just get one more damage in, which is fine too. And then next turn I can level up the talent to load up the Scribe and still have Crumb and get it up. There's Life Creed Duo, so they gain a life off every creature they play now. Cool. I do need to play this pre-combat, but we'll discard the other one to the Scribe. Intrepid Rabbit, that's going to be a good one. Should be pretty obvious to our opponent that we have Crumb and get it here, but it's not like they have blocks anyway. We hit a land. I don't know if it's better to Rabbit holding up Crumb and get it or just level up Blacksmith's Talent. They're both pretty good. I might want to just get Blacksmith's Talent active as quickly as possible and start forcing some chump blocks here. Although they're green-white, which means a lot of tokens, which means a lot of chump blocks. And if I don't hit the land, I can't hold up Crumb and get it while playing anything. What do I want to do? I guess I can attack in holding up the Crumb and get it. And then post-combat the Guard Mouse if I don't need to crumb around. Yeah. Pretty fine. Shoot, this hand is good though. I don't think we discard. Alright. I actually don't think that attack was very good, because now that I think of it, if they just blocked with Intrepid Rabbit, I really hate it if they take that bluff. If they throw their 3/2 in front of our 3/3, we have to Crumb and get it, and then we can't afford to play a 4-drop for the turn, and then... Yeah, our tempo is all out of whack if they just block with Intrepid Rabbit there. So... Don't like that at all. I don't like this either. We're going to need to kill this Warren Elder pretty badly. This has to be like overprotect from our opponent for +3/+3, trample indestructible. It's a powerful enough card that just getting out of the way here is fine. Yeah, if I block the 1/1, that's basically the only card they can have here, unless they have 2 combat tricks. Oh, Sonar Strike, alright. That would have worked at any point. I mean, if we're attacking, they Sonar Strike us too. Alright, so that is land 5. So we can hold up a Crumb and get it with whatever else we're doing. We're up to 18, though, with all this token production. And this Warren Elder is incredibly concerning with 5 creatures on their board. So I might have to banish the Warren Elder still. Play nothing else for the turn. I guess this is only +1/+1 to the board, and getting the Intrepid Rabbit down is going to be a lot of blockers already. However, I think I'm at the point of not attacking here. Trying to make sure we live for the long game and try to take that over with level 3 blacksmith talent. So we can put our Intrepid Rabbit on their Intrepid Rabbit. Our 2/2 on their 1/1. We've got pretty good blocks everywhere except the Life Creed duo. The head of the homestead here is disgusting. This Warren Elder just went from bad to close to lethal, and now pretty confident we just Banishing Light it, which means that the path is clear for any bomb they draw into. Discard this to draw a card. Sure. Another land. This head could be another 3 toughness card. I feel like we might just leave them here then, so I can throw a 3/2 there, 3/3 there. Oh wait, no, we just killed the Warren Elder, so they're just 2 toughness. Yeah, no, we move this back again. Guess I'm not holding up Krummaget anymore unless I play this land. I guess now I have the mana to go level 3 Blacksmith's Talent and do a manual re-equip in the same turn. 6 lands on board. Oof. Another Intrepid Rabbit. That's a lot of damage. 3 in the sky, and they gain 2 life. Alright, at least they only have 1 attack each turn. Just poke us in the sky, and we get to start poking them on the ground, forcing chump blocks. So pretty even stuff here. Meadow Guard goes real well for us. Probably in the future though, right? Because I don't have enough mana to level 3 this and play Meadow Guard in the same turn. I guess I do need one like really big creature to actually make Blacksmith's Talent that threatening. And this would be the one really big creature. I guess I start juicing up the Meadow Guard then. Just immediately. Actually need another red source. I feel a little bad about discarding that. Oh. The mythic uncommon of the format. The best talent. Way better than Blacksmith's Talent. That is super bad for me. Doesn't really matter that it's not going to get to kill one of my creatures here, because just the fact that it's going to potentially draw them a card every turn is going to be game ending. And it's also going to start hitting us for 2 a turn in the sky off the Life Creed duo. I guess they don't have a 4-power creature on board yet to draw the extra cards, so they would have to send in with one of their 3/2s, make it a 4/2, and have it survive, which is kind of hard to do. That is not another red source. Shoot. Can't move the talent and Might of the Meek here. I only have 4 blockers up as well if I attack with something. Block, 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 take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I take 1 less than lethal on the crackback? Yikes. Oh, this just ain't it. Send a message at least and even out these life totals. Or they get a chump and then we're less likely dead on the crackback. That's also fine. Baker's Bane Duo. 3 points of life gain is big. Or 4 points of life gain. 3 from the food plus the 1 from the life creed duo trigger. They actually might have lethal trampling up a 3-2, because we can only stop 2 of the trample damage there. Block, 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 block. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I take exactsies, actually, even with the chump from our opponent. But we were definitely dead if they didn't chump block. Oof. I have to lose 2 creatures here to not die in 2 swings. Kind of die in 2 swings no matter what. Yeah, no, I kind of just think they've got me here. Go to 4 life and then definitely die to the wide board. Unless I have like a lifelink trick in my deck I don't know about. If I draw the Stoat, that's our out. Top deck the Stoat. Banishing Light is not the Stoat, but it's interesting. 4 life. If I get rid of Hunter's talents, and with Whisker Quill Scribe have 4 blockers up, block, 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 take 1, 2, 3, 4 damage exactly and die. God dang it. I need 5 blockers up. But I have to banish Light Hunter's talent for sure. And then, yeah, block 1, 2, 3, 4. I would take 3 on the ground and 1 in the sky and die. I have to have 5 blockers up and cast this Vanishing Light. So I can't attack this turn. I mean, I'm on a 4-turn clock now. There's 1 damage a turn. So that is certainly something. If I attack, they can choose to not block and then kill me. So we have to pass. Please miss on a couple draw steps here. There'd be pivotal draw steps. Oops, top deck the Tree Guard duo. Some BM in the end. Off of the perfect draw. You love to see it. Rough. Yeah. I do not think we could have won with our draws versus theirs, but just a great deck from our opponent, and a little too little action in the end. Yeah. It was possible to turn things around with a few more turns, because our scribes mean that naturally we should be top decking better than them. Because any turn that we miss completely, we can discard the card to draw a card, but they're just playing blind off the top. Yeah, I mean, we just really needed to win the top deck war, and we didn't. Simple as that. Start off 0-1, heading into game 2. Alright, here we are for game 2. Talent into Scribe, into Hop to it. Turn 4, if I don't draw anything else, I can just level up the talent. Seems good. And this card seems broken. Playful Shove is the perfect draw, though, right? Because they have to wait till they play 3 other flyers to buff it up. Yeah. If they play 3 more flyers, this card just, like, wins. A 1 mana 5/4 flying vigilance. But they need 3 more flyers before that happens, so I have time to playful shove it. Okay. What are the odds of them playing 2 flyers next turn? They're dramatically low. But because the 1/1s just run into a 1/2 anyway, I'm just gonna shove. Especially because this also helps us hit our land drops by drawing another card. So that we can get towards the head of the homestead a little quicker. Valley Quest Caller, one of the best rares in the format, buffs all the white creatures with +1/+1, scries when they all hit the board. Miss of a draw, but that's okay. That makes up for the incredible draw that was Mabel last turn. Just drop the Mabel here. Mabel with Blacksmith's Talent is a great combo, because when we level up Blacksmith's Talent, it equips whatever creature with whatever equipment we want. So we can equip the Crag Flame for free as well. Get that Vigilance Trample. The big part there being the Vigilance right now. Moonstone Harbinger. 2 bats on board. They have the life gain triggers. So +1/+0 to both of them. Wow, yeah. Just double Anthem effect in a row because the Life Creed duo triggers Harbinger every turn. This is super nasty. Is this worth banishing light on something here? Honestly, any of these 3 cards is a pretty good target for banishing light. I guess I can't really attack in without banishing the Harbinger because of Death Touch, but Mabel dying isn't that bad. I only have 1 other mouse right now. Mabel dying is still just not ideal. I'm gonna banish the Harbinger. If we ever level 3 the Blacksmith's Talent, we've also built our own Embercleave, Double Strike Trample, an even better one, Double Strike Trample Vigilance, Haste. Hop to it with the Quest Caller on board. Well, I guess I should have killed the Quest Caller, but could not have known they had the Magical Christmas Land sorcery with that card. When they're on black-white bats, they're less likely to have found the Great Rabbit cards to go with Quest Caller, but there it is. Sometimes they just have it. Oh, man. We need to get some Vigilance swings in here, so I think we need to play a 3-drop and equip Crag Flame. So I need my blockers. 11 life? Do I have to dig that badly? I kind of think I do, maybe. I actually might discard Head of the Homestead. Because Intrepid Rabbit I could cast for like 3 and level up a talent, where if I don't hit a land, cast for 3 and spend 2 on an equip. Stuff like that. Okay. So I can work my way towards level 3 Blacksmith's Talent. Cool. Clear out a lot of the attackers here. Land 4, another Life Creed duo for 4 power in the sky now. Man. Really just thought from the black-white deck, getting rid of the bat buffer that also death touches everybody was gonna be better, but it has not worked out that way. To be fair, we have taken pretty much just as much damage if we killed Quest Caller instead, because they would have been buffing every turn with the Harbinger. They just wouldn't have had as good blocks with all the rabbit tokens, and would not have hit the scries. Five power Mabel can get double blocked by Quest Caller duo, but I can kill both of them. Unless our opponent has a Saber up here. They have something for 2 or less. Saver or a Crumb and get it or something. I mean, Mabel is our only mouse left. At this point, Mabel's a 3/3 with no text. We get rid of the combat tricks here. Whoa. Just Mabel. Sonar Strike? Yeah, this is fine. We kill a creature and a Sonar Strike at the cost of a 3/3 with no relevant abilities anymore. What's not fine is that we're just going to die in the sky again pretty soon. Brutal start. We die to the same card twice. The Life Creed duo. Chip damage. Yeah, it's not looking so hot. It's really not looking so hot. We've built our own Embercleave, but we're one turn from dead. Here we go. There's the Embercleave. It's an Embercleave that also equips itself for free every turn. Oh. I guess it's probably better to have put this on Intrepid Rabbit since it's the slightly better blocker with the Vigilance. But we're not dying on the ground. I don't think they're attacking on the ground at all. Scry to the top a million times means probably the combat trick to kill us with Duo. Or the 3/3 flyer that drains us when it hits the board, something like that. Banishing Light, the Crag Flame? Okay. And that does not do it. We're super dead in the sky. Brutal start to this draft. We could have... Basically, the one thing we could have done differently this game was that we could have Banishing Light the Quest Caller instead of the Harbinger. The game would have played out better for us. Not in that we would have taken any less damage because they had a creature enter the battlefield every single turn. So these Life Creed duos would have been hitting us for 2 apiece every single turn, regardless. But they would have had worse blocks, and they would not have had the scries that they ended up getting. So they would have drawn a little bit worse and had worse blocks. So depending on how many times they scried to the top instead of the bottom, if they scried to the top almost every time, then we would have still lost handedly. But if they scried to the bottom a lot, then maybe they actually had just a chunk of bad cards there that they managed to get out of the way to draw into the good stuff to keep the pressure on and clear us out there. So really depends on how good the scries were there for them, how well Banishing Lighting the Quest Color of the Harbinger would have went for us. But again, it would have been the same amount of damage, so odds are we still just die. But we should have just killed Quest Caller. I think that was a misplay for sure. But not the most likely to have changed the outcome because it certainly would not have changed the amount of damage we were getting dealt in the slightest. All right, here we are on the play for Game 3. We are on the 0-2 start right now. We need to rally into a lot of wins, and this is a sketchy hand to try to do that with the Patchwork Banner being our only red source. We can play Rabbit on turn 3 and then Banner and Talent, or Banner and Rabbit Gnaw on the same turn later. I want to play the Banner actually before the Rabbit, now that I think of it, because then we can actually get the offspring from the Rabbit, and especially once we have another creature on the board, then it's really easy to justify just playing the Patchwork Banner and Blacksmith's Talent turn 3. Probably on rabbits here, because we're going to have 3 rabbits on the board soon. And there's the red source anyway. Alright, now I'm feeling real fine. Rabbits. Here's Talent. And we offer the 2/2 for 3/2 trade. And our opponent does not want the trade. They take the 2 damage, they're down to 18. Cliff top lookout, little bit of ramp for our opponent here. Get towards the expend 4. Ooh, Meadow Guard. Meadow Guard's actually pretty spicy here because it perfectly lines up curve-wise to go Meadow Guard, level up talent, get that free equip onto the Meadow Guard for big attacks next turn if they don't kill it. And now that talent is very close to the double strike. A huge attack for our opponent. Yeah, turn 4 Quake Tuskboar is nasty. Down to 9 already, but this Rabid Gnaw, speaking of nasty things, it's going to be pretty filthy. We can kill the boar with that. That gets the Meadow Guard up very high. I still have 2 mana up to play my own Nettle Guard and hold up a Might of the Meek at the same time. I can Might of the Meek during their turn. Get another Meadow Guard buff. Yeah, this looks great. I guess I'm not doing anything with this equip, am I? Actually, probably want to put it on Nettle Guard for slightly better blocks. I deal 1 less damage this turn. Fine. Might of the Meek is also a +1/+2 combat trick on Nettle Guard, which is funny. It's revealed though, so I'm not gonna play out like that. It's just cute. We could make our Nettle Guard 4 toughness out of nowhere to block the 3/2. Since it's equipped plus another +2 from the Valiant trigger. With them at 10 life, I could see an argument for holding on to this to get a trampled double strike attack next turn. But even if we don't level up to double strike, just dropping an Intrepid Rabbit's going to be huge swings. So I think I'm just going to cash this in and draw the card. Okay, well, Might of the Meek does not do anything against that, because that is 9 damage. Or no, 6 damage. It's twice, not thrice. Sure. 4 damage on board here. Need to be able to do another 5 to kill me. Play a Quake Tuskboar for only 3 mana. The fight gives indestructible, so it doesn't even matter if I Might of the Meek here. Oh, they didn't gift me a fish, though, so it's not going to be big enough to kill the Meadow Guard. Thank goodness. So I have 4 toughness to survive the fight. Pretty sure we just lose if they give us the fish there. But they did not realize we could Valiant during their turn. off of that Might of the Meek. That was huge for us. Honestly, probably game-decidingly huge. Force a chump, re-equip to duo, or just rabbit so I have tons of blockers up. I'm just gonna rabbit so I have tons of blockers up. And then I can even still re-equip to a blocker. And this still forces a chomp, my lord. Yeah, that's just objectively better than making a double striking Meadow Guard then. Because that way we force a chump and get 4 damage in. And hold up more blockers. There's a cash grab. They're doing some digging here. They did find some big raccoons. One of them can give trample, but it'll be too late. By the time they cast it, they'll have already expended 4, so not at risk of getting lethaled off of that this turn. And even so, it would have to be alongside a really big buff to lethal me this turn. They can play it, put a counter on it with their Oak Hollow Village. So they get like a 4-3 raccoon friend. But yeah, there's the concession from our opponent. It's not going to be enough. Really close game yet again. But this time we just barely scrape it out for 1 and 2 as we head into game 4. All right, here we are for game number 4. Nice and slow hand here. We just banish the first scary threat. And hope these cards are big enough. The host into the head of the homestead is going to be kind of nice. Get ahead and card advantage late, but we're against one of the most aggressive archetypes in the format, and they have a mythic rare turn 2, so we might just die. What does this even do? Whenever it attacks, they get a card from the spellbook. Oh my god. And they're all combat tricks. Sure are. Wow. Oh my god. Oh my god, we're dead. There's Ember Cleave and Angel Fire Ignition in there, and oh boy. Stoat into Banishing Light and pray. Pray that their draft is bad on this first attack. Bargain would win the combat. Let's see. So they can't cast that. Bargain would win the combat. Can't cast that. That would just save their thing. Oh, if they tap out, we're fine. Beautiful. They tap out and we just get that out of here before they Valiant. Yeah, before they attack and get the Valiant triggers going. Yeah, get out of my life. That card seems obnoxious. There's a Weasel Soldier. Do I have any other soldiers? I have a Mouse Soldier. I kind of want to buff Stoat. Buffing a lifelinker is a big deal. Okay, well now we're just going to Banishing Light the 4-3 Mentor here. So never mind. We'll just have no removal left. It'll be fine, I promise. What are the odds we get double mythic? It's never happened before. That's some alchemy thing. Choose a white creature in your hand, it gains offspring 1. That could be absolutely devastating with the right creature. Like, imagine our Valley Quest Caller opponent gave their Valley Quest Caller offspring. Game would have been over infinite turns before then. I can't attack this turn unless I play host. And I can't block that. I guess I could if I ban around soldiers, I could attack in. But I have a lot of rabbits with the head of the homestead. want to keep gaining the life, though. This is so strange, but I think the life gain is worth it, and the mana is necessary here. Like, I basically have to play Patchwork Banner here with the way this hand is shaped. The real debate is whether we gain the life on this swing, or we just banner on rabbits for later, and just let our stoat be useless for a little while. Right, here's the guard mouse they have to clear out. Actually, Harvest Right Host Duo is going to be a double trigger, and we're going to draw a card. $19, I can take another 3 here. Ooh, Offspring Strike Force is pretty threatening with the equipments too. Hopefully I don't equip the 1/1, so if we find our Playful Shove, we can just kill that. Meadow Guard is spicy. Not as spicy as just a land for Head of the Homestead, but still spicy. Can play this. Can play Seasoned Warren Guard to Valiant it. And still hold up the Might of the Meek to Valiant it again and draw a card. I am really taking a lot of damage though right now, aren't I? I guess what I can do here is make sure I get the counter on that, but now Host has attacks where we get to kill one of the Shrike Forces, which is probably worth it. I mean, our Might of the Meek is revealed, so they know that we're just trading Host for Shrike Force if they block, but I think that is worth it. Oh, that's 3 for striking power. I would literally give my life for a crumb and get it here. We would demolish them, but I actually punt attacked. It's a bold block because it does get destroyed by Crumb and get it, but we don't have it. I oofed. The punt bluff did not work. This is why I never bluff intentionally, just when I punt. Oof, do they have removal for Meadow Guard too? They keep looking at it, looking back and forth here. Sure do. Nothing I can do about that. It's a full exile. Man. Well, that was a pretty bad punt attack earlier, but we're dying to these Strike Forces anyway without drawing more removal. Just would add more card draw towards drawing that removal, because then the Head of the Homestead does some draws here. Some draws. It does one draw. We would have had one more card towards top decking removal for the Strike Forces, slightly quicker. None of this is removal for Strike Forces, so we continue taking damage. Yeah, I would have had some counterattacks here and there at 13, so that could matter. Well, no, I actually wouldn't. Even with all the Harvest Right Host triggers, they have 3 first striking power on blocks because of the Vigilance. So I would still not have attacks, even if I had the Harvest Right Host on board for the double +1/+0 draw card. I guess maybe if we had the Bravekin duo still, at that point we could make a 4 toughness Harvest Right Host and attack with that. Alright, well, one pretty embarrassing punt here, but it is not our day on Arena. They even have the main deck enchantment removal to blow up a Banishing Light, and it's looking like a perfectly played game here would be another monumental defeat for a 1-3 draft. Because that Nettle Guard on Banishing Light is absolutely crushing. because they just bring back any combat trick when they attack with a single mouse. Cast it on a Strike Force and we are mega dead because the double strike. Down to 4 already. Starforged Sword. We were tapped out. That does make them lose flying, so they couldn't have lethaled us. But they could have sent, what, 6/6, a 3/3, a 4/4 double strike on the ground. Why am I so bad with numbers right now? 4/4 double strike on the ground. Maybe on Coyote attack with that. Pre-combat would have been good. Alright, well, we didn't hit any removal for the Flyers, and it doesn't even matter that they can blow up the Vanishing Lights and go crazy. Game is just over. I don't even have a way to trigger a Whisker Quill Scribe to try to discard a card, draw a card. Yeah, alright. Rough day of Magic, but that is how the cookie crumbles for us. Certainly some misplays here for sure, mainly in this third loss and the loss against the Bats deck, where we exiled the Bat buffer instead of the All Creature buffer. So we had that punt attack, but again, with their follow-up draws, pretty much a guaranteed loss, and we killed the wrong card against the Bat deck, but with their draws, probably still a loss. That one was more nebulous, because there was enough scrying going on from the quest caller that maybe we could have turned that Bat game into a victory, but I do not think that last game would have turned into a victory no matter what. Yeah, this is brutal. Really a disappointing record for this deck. I think this is one of the best mice decks that we've drafted. I think it looks quite powerful on average, but we ran into some other very powerful decks, and they just had some better draws, had the right stuff. Really, we died to Flyers every single game, and there's not a ton we could do about it. We didn't draw enough removal for the Flyers in all those games, and I think our deck is fine in terms of removal level. Sure, it's only 4, but they just had really impressive bombs early in that last round. We had to Vanishing Light those and then died to Flyers. And the other games where we died to Flyers, I think we mostly just didn't really draw removal often, despite the 4 removal spells there. And even the Playful Shove would have worked that game. One of the Flyers was a 1/1 flying double strike, so I would count that towards the removal for that one. Yeah, rough stuff. Think it's a great deck. Really happy with the colors I chose, with the signals that we were reading in that draft. It just does not pan out for us today. It is just simply not in the cards. A 1-3 it'll be. Mostly just some variance there. Again, not the best plays ever, but they were unlikely to have affected the outcomes of the games. And I think we drafted a pretty good deck and drafted pretty well for the most part. That's just how the cards fall this time. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you'd like to see more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.